Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on October 2nd, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategies 1 and 2, the game card color code, and the 50-50 picks. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 15, 23, 34, 51, and 55. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 15 was purple, the 23 was blue, the 34 was purple, the 51 was red, and the 55 was blue. Okay. So I'm going to color these in. So again, the 15 and 34 were purple. The 23 and 55 were blue. And the 51 was red. Okay, so now I'm going to count how many colors I have. So I got 2 purple, 2 blue, and a red for 3 colors total. So up here, I'm going to make this 370 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 3-color combination has now come up 195 times, okay? So if you divide 195 into 370, you're going to see that a 3-color combination comes up more than half the time, okay? And to me, that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3-color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. Okay, so my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left over is purple. So basically what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color, okay? So again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers. Now, the red numbers are the last 3 drawings of numbers, okay? And the reason why that is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers, okay? So again, I'm going to start in with the 15, the 23, the 34, the 51, and the 55. The next line down is the 37, the 43, 44, and 45. And 53, and the last line is the 1, 9, 22, 36, and 68. So again, I'm going to make these red numbers, and now I'm going to count how many I have. So I got 3, 2 is 5, 4 is 9, 1 is 10, and 5 is 15. So up here, I'm going to leave this alone at 15, okay? So up here, it tells me how many of each color I have on the game card, okay? So moving on to the orange area, I'm going to start with the 14, then the 19, 39, 47, and 51. You can see that's already taken by the red, okay? So moving on to the next line is 11, 27, 31, 36 is already taken, and 67. The next line down is the 6, 17, 24, 53 is already taken, 57. And the last line is 11, which is taken. So the 20, 41, 42, and 56. So again, I'm going to make these orange, and now I'm going to count how many I have. So here I got 4 and 2 are 6, 3 are 9, 1 is 10, 2 is 12, and 4 is 16. So here I'm going to make this 16. Okay, so I think you get the gist of how I came up with the colors for my game card here. So what I'm going to do is, just to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like for October 2nd, 2019. So you can see there was 15 red numbers, 16 orange, turned out to be 13 green numbers, 11 blue, and 14 purple numbers. Okay, so again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up, okay? So that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on here, okay? So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers, okay? So the strategy here for the game card is to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So I want to point out that all 5 numbers, they do come up. It's come up 13 times out of 370 drawings, okay? So it does come up, but it's very rare, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what color group I don't think is going to come up, okay? And to help me make a decision on that, I'm going to turn to the next strategy called the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of that and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So basically, I use these 50-50 picks to use this as a roadmap to what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this real quick, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is make this 416. This is how many drawings I kept track of so far. And basically this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers, okay? So let me go back to the game card, find out what the colors, find out what the numbers were. So I got 1 odd, 2 odds, 3, 4 odds, and 1 even number, okay? So here I'm going to make this 4 odds and 1 even, okay? So since the odds had the majority, I'm going to make this 219. Okay, so out of 416 drawings, 219 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 197 drawings have been the majority of even numbers, okay? So as I go back into the history of things, you can see that I like to break things down into 5, again, to show me the majority, okay? So out of this 5 drawings, you can see the majority was odd numbers, 4 drawings to 1, okay? And again, as I go back into the history of things, you can see what's happening here. So my prediction is that I think there's going to be more odd numbers than even numbers, okay? So the thing about this game is that we're all going to look at this differently, okay? So you may look at it and say, no, I think there's going to be more even numbers or whatnot, okay? But for me, I think more odd numbers, okay? So I'm going to go back to the game card and I'm going to write that down, that I think there's going to be more odd numbers than even numbers, okay? Just to remind myself of what I picked. So moving on to the next one, I got high and low here, okay? So as I go back into the history of things, I see lots of low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that another high is going to come. So all the numbers in red are considered high numbers. All the ones in blue are considered low, okay? So again, I think more numbers are going to be in this red area than the blue. So I'm going to write that down as well. Again, just to remind myself what I picked. More to the high side than the low. Now moving on, I got 2 more. I got this left and right. So as I scroll down through, I see a lot to the right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict more numbers to the left side than the right. So I'm going to write that down as well. Whoops. Okay, so I think more numbers are going to be here to the left side and less numbers over here to the right side. Okay, so one last one is I have this red and blue area here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that more numbers are going to be in this red area than the blue. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so that's it for the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my prediction on what I think is going to miss. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with no blue. Okay, no blue numbers. So the first reason is because a blue number has come up in the last 10 drawings. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And then you can see there's no blue numbers here, okay? So that's what I'm going to predict is going to happen, is that no blue numbers are going to come up, okay? So here, I think more numbers are going to be here in the red area, so you can see that there's only 4 numbers here in the blue, okay? So again, I'm going to get rid of the blue numbers, and hopefully no blue numbers come up. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think would be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play, okay? So in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these blue numbers will come up in the next drawing, okay? So if I'm correct with my bet and none of these blue numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize, okay? So moving on to the next strategy. Strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers, okay? So basically what I did is I took all the 69 numbers and divided it into 7 different groups, okay? So here's group number 1 that holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Of course, this is the only group with 9 numbers where the other 6 have 10 numbers to it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this real quick. You can see the winning numbers are over here, okay? So I'm going to follow the 15 on this plane until I find it, okay? And now I'm going to make this square purple. Now I'm making it purple because the 15 is purple, and the 15 is purple because of the color code said it was purple, okay? So this 4 tells me how many groups hit, okay? So it hit 4 groups out of 7, okay? So that means 3 groups didn't have a winning Powerball number to it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. And I'll show you how to read this. Okay, so this big square right here, this is good for 5 drawings, okay? Now, the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is for a couple reasons. One is, as I go into the history, it's easier to count going backwards, going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa, okay? So again, you can see I broke things down into 7 groups, okay? And there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So my pick is I don't think any 30 numbers are going to come up, okay? Now the reason why is because a 30 number has hit 1 drawing in the last 5, okay? So in the last 5 drawings I had a hit is what I'm trying to say. So when it does that, when it hits 5 drawings in a row like this, usually it doesn't go 6. Like 95% of the time, it doesn't go 6, okay? So, you know, there's that occasion where it does go more, okay? I think the record is 13, but I'm going to go with the majority, what happens most of the time, and I'm going to say that no winning Powerball numbers will be here in this 30 numbers, okay? So I'm going to eliminate the 30 numbers off of my game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. I'm going to go to the game card. And I'm going to eliminate the 30 numbers. So here's the 30, 31, 32, 33 to the 36, 37, 38, and 39. So I'll get rid of those. And hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope I'll miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all 69 numbers and I divided it into 4 different color groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerball lands within these color groups, I record where they land down here in the stats. Okay, so again, the winning numbers were the 15, that was in the blue, the 23 is in the blue, the 34 and 51 are in the orange, and the 55 is in the green. Okay, so that means there was no winning Powerball numbers in the red area, 2 in the blue, 2 in the orange, and 1 in the green. Okay, so if there's a hit, I color the background red for hot. And if there's a miss, I color the background blue for cold. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Now, if I could have correctly guessed that no red numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have gotten rid of all these red numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so what I do now is I'm going to make this 93, and this tells me how many zeros are in this column here. Okay, so I have 15 of these game cards, okay? These option cards is what I mean to say. So this is option card number 1, and they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, and green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so again, I have 15 of these option cards here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on where I think a couple of these zeros are going to be. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go with this blue. I think the zero is going to be here in this blue area. Okay, now the reason why, and again, we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, but the reason why is because a 1 comes up a lot. Okay, so if a 0 comes up here, I'm going to be putting a 1 over here. Okay, so here's another one over here, another one, another one, another one. Okay, so a 1 comes up a lot, but over here in this blue area, a 1 hasn't come up in a long time right here. Okay, so I just think that it's due to happen. I think that it's due to come up with another 1 here. Okay, so again, I think the 0 is going to be right here, and I don't think that any of these blue numbers are going to come up, so I'm going to get rid of them off of my game card. Okay, so I'm also going to get rid of the 8 over here. Okay, so the reason why I'm getting rid of this 8, okay, so you can see that there's 5 numbers over here to the left, okay? And when I go back to group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here, okay? So what I wanted was this grid of 8 squares across and 8 squares down, okay? But that's only good for 64 numbers, okay? So I had to, what I call is share the square with a couple of these numbers here. Like the 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 53 and the 69, and the 58 and the 68, okay? So if I get rid of all these blue numbers like I'm doing, I'm going to get rid of the 8 and the 66 along with all these other numbers as a group, okay? So this is my way of grouping up numbers, okay? So, again, you can see that I got rid of the 8 at the same time. Okay, so moving on. My next pick is going to be option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because this has gone 42 drawings in a row where one of these green numbers have come up, okay? So the record for all 15 of these option cards was 33. So now it's up to 42 for this one here. So again, I'm going to predict that no green numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers off of my game card. So I got the 4 corners here, okay, which I don't have to worry about because all these numbers are gone anyways, okay. So I got the middle here, including the 19. And then I got this pattern here, including the 58, and this pattern over here, including the 53. So again, I'm going to get rid of this middle. I'm going to get rid of the 53. So I'm going to get rid of all these numbers, and hopefully these numbers do not come up, okay? So one more that I'm going to pick is option card number 10, no blue numbers, okay? So you can see that it says no 3 here, okay? And what that means is that no 3 zeros in a row hasn't happened in this blue area here, okay? This is the only one out of all 15 option cards that this hasn't happened yet, at least 3 zeros in a row, okay? So as I scroll down through, so here's one here in the orange, okay? And here's one in the green, but again, here in the blue, just hasn't happened yet, okay? So I'm hoping that it's going to happen this drawing here where another 0 comes up and makes it 3 in a row, okay? So I'm going to get rid of all these blue numbers. So it's this pattern right here for all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 4 and the 28. I'll get rid of the 40, 46, and 54. And I'll get rid of the 42, 50, and 60. And hopefully none of those numbers come up, okay? So that's all I'm going to pick from this group 1, okay? Now this group 1 is really hard to pick because there's all kinds of variables to it, okay? And what I mean by that is this row right here, you can see in this last drawing, all 4 colors were represented, okay? And when that happens, I call that a row, okay? So if I haven't seen a row in a while for a certain option card, like right down through here, okay? Well, I know one's going to pop up eventually, and I wanted to, the 5 winning Powerball numbers that I think are going to come up, I wanted to represent all 4 colors on a certain option card, okay? So moving on, this is my last one, option card 15, okay? So again, I made all my picks, so I'm going to move on to the next strategy. The last strategy, strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers, okay? So much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different color groups, here I divided things into 8 different color groups, okay? So it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers, all right? Except with this one, I know that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and there's 8 different color groups. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is, try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card, okay? So I'm just going to update this real quick, okay? So the winning numbers were the 15, 23, 34, 51, and 55, okay? So I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so I'm going to update this to show you how I update it, okay? I always like to read things from left to right, so I'm going to start with the 34. So there's 1 blue, 1 orange, and then there was 3 gray, okay? So as I go down the current right here, again, there was no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. There is 1 in that blue, the 34. There is 1 in the orange, the 51. There are no winning Powerball numbers in the green area. There are no winning Powerball numbers in the purple. No winning Powerball numbers in the brown. There is 3 in the gray, the 15, 23, and 55. And there is no winning Powerball numbers in the yellow. Okay? So altogether, it hit 1, 2, 3 color groups. Now, since the majority was over here to the right side, I'm going to keep this 3 green. Okay? So if you look at this 4 automatically tells me that since it's red, the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side. Okay? So the reason why I do that is because when I see a big streak of green here, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. So when that happens, I'm going to be looking for the zeros over here to the right side and more hits over here to the left side. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction where I think the next zero is going to be. Okay. So again, with the 50-50 picks, I thought more numbers were going to come up on the left side and less numbers were going to come up on the right side. So I'm going to be looking over here to the right side to pick where I think that zero is going to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with brown. Okay. So another reason, another thing that I want to point out is why this is blue and why this is red. Okay. So again, I like to break things down into fives so it shows me that majority. So here in the first 5 drawings, you can see the majority was misses, 3 zeros to 2 hits, okay? 3 misses to 2 hits. So the majority is misses, and when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. So the next one down, the majority is hits. I color the background red for hot, okay? So the reason why I do that is because when I see something like this where it's been really, really hot, well, I know it's going to turn cold eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So again, I'm going to try to predict where the zero is going to be. I know that there's going to be 3 of them, and I'm going to go with this brown right here. I'm hoping that zero is going to be right here. So I'm going to eliminate the brown numbers off of my game card. It runs from the 6 down to the 62. So the one I'm going to get rid of is the 62. That's the only one that's left. Okay, so moving on to the next option card. Again, I have 15 of these. So here I'm going to go with brown as well. And as I scroll down through, I'm hoping the zero is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. It runs from the 41 to the 48. So I'll get rid of all these numbers here. Hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so moving on to 3. I couldn't make a decision here on this option card number 3, so I don't have to pick out all of them. That's why I gave myself 15 of these option cards. If you don't have that gut feeling, then just leave it alone, okay? So I'm going to move on to the next one, option card 4, and I'm going to go with brown again. I'm hoping the zero is going to be right here in the brown area, and I'm going to get rid of the 9 and the 45. So I'll get rid of the 9 and the 12, and hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to option card 5, I'm going to go with green. So here's the green. As I scroll down through, you can see that things got pretty hot down through here, and I'm hoping the zero is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of all these green numbers right here off of my game card. So I'll get rid of the 63. Hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, moving on to 6. I'm going to go with orange. So here's the orange. And as I scroll down through, you can see that things got pretty hot down through here. So I'm hoping the zero is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these orange numbers, the 5, 14, 21, 30, all the way down. And you can see there's nothing to get rid of, okay? So here's the thing with these option cards here. I keep track of all the stats, okay? And the stats every drawing, it pretty much comes out the same as far as an average for all 15 option cards. And it comes out between 3.8 and 4.2, okay? So what I mean by that, and what I'm trying to say here, is that on average for all 15 option cards, 4 of these color groups are going to have a miss to it, and 4 of these color groups are going to have a hit to it, okay? So right now it's kind of like a 50-50 guess, okay? Now I made my guess of no orange, okay? There's no orange numbers to get rid of, okay? So instead of coming back to this option card and making another guess, okay? So let's just say that I got this orange one correct, okay? Now, if I come back to the same option card and I pick another one, the odds go way, way up that I'm going to get it wrong, okay? So I designed this to move on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 guess again, okay? So I'm going to go to 7 where I had a hard time making a prediction, so I'm going to forget this one, and I'm going to move on to option card number 8, where I'm going to go with no green, okay? So here's the green. You can see that things got pretty hot through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 8, 13, 24, 29. And there's nothing to get rid of. So moving on to option card number 9. I'm going to go with brown again. So here's the brown. So you can see things got pretty hot right down through here. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. And that's the 920 pattern on the left side and 631 on the right side. So I'll get rid of the 20 and I'll get rid of the 52. So hopefully those numbers do not come up. Moving on. Again, I have 15 of these option cards and we're almost done. Okay. So here for option card 10, I'm going to go with gray. You can see how hot this gray has been. Okay. So now I'm hoping that there's going to be a cold streak here. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be here. And I'm going to get rid of the pattern of 17, 28 in all 4 squares. So I'll get rid of the 17, 49. Hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to option card 11. I'm going to go with orange. So here's the orange. And you can see how hot this orange has been. Okay, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of the 66, 16, 67, 27, 33, 41, 54, 62. So I'll get rid of that 27. Hopefully that number does not come up. So moving on to 12. I'm going to go with gray again. So as I scroll down through, you can see that things got pretty hot through here. And I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers, and that's the 2 to the 26 and the 38 to the 62. So I'll get rid of the 2, and hopefully that number doesn't come up. Okay, so you can see that I'm down to 6 numbers here. So we'll see what number 13 brings for me. Actually, I couldn't make a decision here, so I'm going to leave this one alone. And I'm going to move on to 14. And here I'm going to go with brown. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So the 23, the 21 to the 31, and the 52 to the 68. And there's nothing to get rid of. So moving on to the last one, option card 15. I'm going to go with purple. So as I scroll down through here, see how things got really hot. I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these purple numbers. And there's nothing to get rid of. Okay, so I'm down to 6 numbers. All right. So now I have to make a decision on what number to get rid of. Okay. So what I'm going to do is turn to my 50-50 picks, okay? So, again, I thought more odd numbers, and you can see that they're all odd numbers here, okay? So that's really no help. So I think more numbers are going to be to the high side, so automatically I'm going to keep the 51, 55, and 57, okay? Because these 3 numbers are to the low side, so I'm going to think of getting rid of one of these lower numbers here, okay? So more to the left. Okay, so you can see a lot more here to the left, and then more to this red area here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the last drawing in the individual numbers, I got rid of the numbers of 1 through 9 because they've been really, really hot through here. Okay, so I'm going to predict the numbers of 1 through 9 are going to go on a little cold streak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the 1. So hopefully no numbers of 1 through 9 are going to come up. Okay, so these are the numbers that I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the 25, the 51, the 55, the 57, and the 65. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight these. And again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 25, 21, 55, 57, and 65. I don't know where this 21 came in. 51. So again, I'm going to go with the 25, 51, 55, 57, and 65. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right. So I think Sherlock Holmes said it the best when he said it's a matter of deduction. Okay. So if none of these blocked out numbers come up, then these highlighted numbers have to come up. Okay. So now it comes down to what are the odds that I made all the correct picks. Okay. So let's go over the official odds. So to get the grand prize, all 5 white balls and the red ball, okay, the odds of doing that are 1 in 292 million and change, okay. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct, and what I mean by that is that the game is geared up for just the white balls, okay. The odds of getting the white balls correct are 1 in 11,688,000, okay. So in other words, you can make nearly 12 million 5-number combinations out of 69 numbers, okay? So I don't want to give it any kind of illusions that this is going to be easy to win, okay? So a really nice prize to win would be 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays $50,000 plus the power play, okay? The odds of that are just about 1 in a million. And then you can see the odds for the smaller prizes. Okay, so you can see the larger prizes, you know, the odds are astronomical here, okay? So I just want to remind you that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery, okay? So I do have something for the Powerball number itself, okay? Now there's 26 red numbers. So in this column here, I basically just divided the numbers in 2. Okay, so if you see a blue number, that's low, 1 to 13. If you see a red number, that's high, 14 to 26. Over in this column, if you see a red number, it's odds. If you see a blue number, it's evens, okay? So why I did the color code here is because when I see a streak of blue like this, excuse me, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen, okay? So for here, I think that this is going to be blue, and over here, I think it's going to be red, okay? So the number I'm going to go with is the 9. And I'm going with the 9 because it hasn't come up in a very long time, over 100 drawings. So if I could point that out where the... So here it is. This is the last time the 9 came up. Now, every other number has come up at least twice, and this 9 just hasn't come up yet again. Okay, so I'm going to go with the 9. Okay, so in closing, I want to thank you for watching. If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. Okay, and as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.